Oh, hey Joe, how are you today?
I'm really well, Charlie. Thanks for having me on. How are you?
Very good, thank you. As always, we always record on a Friday and it's the last Friday of the week, so everybody's really excited for the weekend. And this is a great way to, finish it. So the question I always ask everybody is, how do you like your coffee in the morning?
I don't like coffee.
So right, I'd think that you'd be like the anomaly, but there is
Yeah,
a pattern
no,
in the gym.
I'm not surprised. I love the smell of coffee, but I absolutely hate the taste. So I am a English breakfast tea girl.
Interesting. So you like the smell? So
Love
you love the smell, but don't like the taste.
Absolutely. So my husband has an espresso after dinner every night, and I chased him around the kitchen going, let me have a sniff, let me have a sniff. And then he's like, just have a mouthful. And it's like, no, I don't want a mouthful, I just want a sniff. So yeah, coffee, no for me.
Amazing. It's incredibly European. I wish I could have coffee late at night. But unfortunately, I sit in the camp of, like, as soon as it hits 2:30, 3 o'clock, that's it, caffeine. It has to go, there's no more caffeine, otherwise I won't sleep at night.
Yeah, my husband doesn't have much problem with that, to be truthful, so he's okay.
So let's dive in then. So tell me a little bit about yourself and why is it that you do your job that you do?
Why do I do what I do? So I was corporate for a very long time at probably back then the world's biggest internet company. I took voluntary redundancy because I wouldn't relocate to London, started freelancing, and I have to say I was absolutely horrified at how the marketing agencies treated smaller businesses. From recommending projects to them that would actually put them in a worse situation than what they were already in, wanting to charge them astronomical fees, or just not giving them a good service because they weren't paying a lot, really made me cross. And mentioning my husband again, one night I got really upset. And I said, look, I can't do this project because it is not right for the client. And my husband said, well, why don't you set up on your own? And, because my background had always been corporate, it was, no, I can't do that. I've got no idea how to run a business. But yeah, that was 10 years ago this summer. So I do what I do to really help the small businesses that need marketing support.
I love that, and congratulations! Like, you're coming up to your 10-year mark. That is, I always say the 5-year mark, the 10-year mark, the 20-year mark. Like, they are big, massive achievements.
Yeah, that's why my hair's going so grey.
And one of the questions I always like to ask people who've, taken that plunge into the entrepreneurship, the business ownership world, what was the thing that, there was that conversation with your husband and your husband giving you the idea. I'm sure there was a period where it was ruminating around your brain to, like, do I do this? Do I do this? Do I really go for it? And what was that final nail in the coffin where I was like, no, I'm doing this?
The nail in the coffin was being asked to work on a project that was so not suitable for the client. And the client was a lovely, and I knew it would just put him in a really bad position. And after a couple of conversations with the agency owner, I was basically told, look, we contract you to do what we ask you to do. We don't care whether you think it's good or not. So just do it. And I thought, do you know what? No, I'm not. So that was the turning point where I genuinely thought, small business owners deserve better than this.
Just even hearing the story, I know I live in a very similar world to you, and it, like, hurts my soul.
I know.
On so many levels, as someone who does SEO themselves and as someone who manages people, oh no. No.
Oh, such a lovely guy. He was the MD. He had 3 other people working for him. He didn't have anybody full-time in-house doing his marketing, so he got in touch with the agency and he just wanted to start dipping his toe into marketing. And they put this whole program together of organic and paid social ads that would go into like email nurture funnels and SEO. And it was like, not if this takes off, but when this takes off for him, he's going to be so overwhelmed that he's not going to be able to cope. And, you don't want to put a business owner in a position like that. So yeah, that was the turning point.
And speaking of a business dipping their toe into SEO, tell me, because that's what I want to really dig into today, is demystifying what SEO is. And in particular, why do we as SEO companies say it will take between 6 and 18 months to get traction from all of this work that we're putting in? That's the real crux I really want to get behind. But let's start at the beginning. What is SEO? And if you're going to dip your toe into SEO, what would you do?
Okay, so SEO is purely the act of making edits to your website so it appears higher in Google search results. Organic Google search results, shall I say. And if you want to start dipping your toe into SEO, the number one thing I would say people should start doing is producing really high quality content that informs, educates, and entertains their potential ideal clients.
Now that sounds very like what social media's done, If I was making a social media plan, you want to make content that's highly relevant to your target audience, and if you can make it that it also educates and entertains your audience, then you're going to rank higher and get more visibility.
100%.
Does that sound oddly familiar?
Yeah, oddly familiar. So, and I mean, I'm sure you're aware, a couple of months, and I hate to use acronyms, but a couple of months ago, Google updated its, I wouldn't say ranking algorithm, but its quality guidelines from EAT to EEAT, and that's experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. So obviously, if you're producing quality content on your product or your service, that's demonstrating your authoritativeness, case studies on how you've helped your own clients. If you're a service-based business, that goes towards proving your expertise. And it's all about producing content that's on your website that meets those Google guidelines, because then they will see you as more of an expert in your field and rank you higher.
Now, this all sounds really easy. Does that make sense? It just sounds easy. It's like, so I go and write blog articles, I put them onto my website. That's it. That's all I need to do, right? I just need to, and then I'm just going to make them a little bit funny, relatable to my target audience. That's it. That's all I need to do.
In theory.
Exactly. You can see where I'm going.
Content and pillars by any chance? Internal linking?
Well, that's it. So tell me, what are those sort of nuanced details? Let's pick three nuanced details that goes from I'm just throwing content onto my website to this is the real stuff that really makes a difference.
Yeah, okay. So if we take it in terms of SEO, for example, and this can be applied to anybody's service area. So within that all-encompassing big area of SEO, there are what I class as 4 main sub-areas. So you've got on-page, off-page, technical and local. And then within those 4, there are tons and tons of other types of topics that relate. So what you want to do with your sort of high-level service, say you're an accountant, for example, so then you've got sole trader tax returns, you've got VAT returns, and you've got limited accounts. You would want to structure your content so each blog post is about an individual topic under one of those areas, and then you link that blog post to the main topic. So it's called pillar and cluster. So your pillar would be sole trader tax returns, and then each blog post would be about something individual relating to that. You'd link it all to individual tax returns, and then have that potentially linked to your services page where people can find out more and actually get in contact with you.
Absolutely. Now I'm going to use the analogy I always use, because I'm listening and going, I totally understand what you're saying, because yeah, that's exactly what I do. I like to describe it as the solar system. Now, your top main service that you definitely want to rank for is your sun, and it's the heart of absolutely everything that you want to do. So I'm not talking anything massive complex SEO where you've got lots of suns and you've got Milky Ways and you've got lots of galaxies. We're talking about a small business with one service that's their main service. Yeah. That's your sun, and you want to write about every single planet, moon, asteroid that goes around that sun, and that's what it's going to all link back to, as that is your core information, your core subject.
I'm going to have to steal that. I love it.
You can borrow it. I think I've got an analogy now for every piece of marketing. The solar system one for trying to do the cornerstones and the clusters around content. Yeah, that's the big one. Why is the clusters that we're talking about? Because that is really the fundamental process and system that a business owner has to follow in trying to find subject ideas and in which order to write them about. But why is it so important that it is written, the articles are written?
So from a ranking perspective, the way that Google identifies content on a website is they send out what's called their spider or their bot. It will land on one page and it will follow all the links to other pages. So if you've got, I've seen some clients that have got, I don't know, say 250 to 300 articles on their blog, but it's just under their blog. So there isn't a link from a blog article page to a service page. So Google isn't getting all that authoritiveness because it can't follow the links in between pages to say, okay, so they're talking about local SEO here, and that page is about citations, and that is about backlinks. They all need to be linked to pass juice to each other, if you like.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we're getting into the area now where we're starting to use some terms that you'll hear SEO, you're talking to your client and you'll start using these terms like spiders, bots, are they crawlable? Like imagine in their head they got little.
I so try to not use those words wherever possible. With crawling and indexing, I say, can your page be accessed? And if it can be accessed, is it actually in search results? It's exactly the same as crawling and indexing, but it's much easier to understand. I really dislike when people try and make it sound a lot more technical and a lot more confusing than it really needs to be. I've seen some people have a conversation about SEO and they'll go, your hierarchical linking structure and indexing and crawling and, have you got your HTTP sorted out? And You don't need to say it like that. Why? Are you doing it because you're trying to make yourself sound cleverer, or? Yeah, really frustrating me.
That is always my little red flag. If I meet somebody who is talking about, you can really get nerdy with SEO, and I will, if that is the premise of the conversation, to really get into it. That's a great time to get into the technical jargon and really get into the depths of the subject. But if you're talking to a business owner who's just looking to be more visible to their target audience on Google, then it's not the time to talk jargon. And if I hear somebody talking jargon to a client like that, that's a red flag to me. 100%. Because it means you don't understand the subject enough to really dumb it down to the simplest language. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think that I'm with you. That's my bugbear as well. So that's what I'm saying. I have all these different pretty analogies. Like, I still to this day, this is my explanation of SEO. It's really coming out tonight. My explanation of SEO is still the yellow pages. That it kind of shows my age a little bit.
I remember too.
Well, a lot of my audience still remembers the yellow pages, so it still works, but I might have to update it soon. And I love to explain SEO in this way, where it's like, okay, if I handed you the yellow pages and it had 50,000 businesses, and you had to put those 50,000 businesses into some kind of order, how would you put it into an order? And it gets them thinking, like, how would they do it? How would they, improve it? And it's like, okay, alphabetical is a pretty good one for the yellow pages, but what happens if this yellow pages, you wanted to give them the most relevant order of businesses for what they're seeking for? So this is a little bit of like an updated yellow pages. Yeah. And it gets them thinking again. I was like, well, how would you, if say a business is brand new, how do they get to the top of the yellow pages in front of their target audience? Well, that's advertising, that's PPC. Yeah. And I just break it down that way, because it's humans, we like things that's physical and tangible. And SEO, it's not physical and it's not tangible in one.
I wish it was.
Oh, I know. So kind of, we've really, I feel, if a business owner wants to get into SEO and kind of demystify it, I think we've covered a lot. And I think there's only one kind of last little bit point we can cover before we'll move on, and that is, we're talking about the bots and we're talking about the spiders.
Yep.
Now, why does it take maybe a month or 6 weeks or even 6 months to see any big changes and big results when it comes to SEO?
So from a bot and spider perspective, it's because there are millions of websites in the world. Google only has a limited amount of crawl, I don't want to use the word budget, crawl availability.
Spiders. They only have so many amount of spiders to go and find out their little, or I should say ants. Ants is a far better analogy. Yeah. Ants are little, they go forage away, they go find the information, and then they come back.
Yeah, I hate spiders, so I hate using the word anyway. They've got a finite number of spiders that actually go out and follow each link to every web page. And obviously, with the vast number of websites out there, they could be out for a year before they come round and revisit your site again. It doesn't work like that in the real world, because you can get into full budget and more backlinks, gets more crawlers to your site and that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, essentially, Google has to find a new page on your site before it can put it in search results. And with the number of new pages being added to websites every day, there's only a limited amount of pages they can get to in 24 hours.
Yeah, and it really is that simple. We've got to do all the hard work, got to do all our clusters, articles, internal links, get more engagement from our social or email network, whatever it is. And then we've got to wait for the spider to come around and reevaluate the work that we've been doing. You know, it's like almost like a teacher coming in and checking off our work, going, how did you guys do this? You know, do I need to improve you? Do we need to take you up to the top set?
No, absolutely. I think a lot of people have the misconception that as soon as they make a change on a website, Google picks it up instantly. It's like Google is just this all-seeing, all-encompassing matrix manager kind of.
Yeah, he's Saruman from like the Lord of the Rings with the eye watching down on all of us SEO people.
All at once. And that is just not the case. So that's why it does take time to see improvements, because it can't look at every single web page on every server in the world all at once.
It is. It's not so simple. It really is. SEO really isn't simple. It's just a lot of moving parts, and the moving parts have to work together.
Yeah.
And it's easy as that. Now, moving on to you and your story. You have been in business for 10 years, and that is, I always say, is a really incredible achievement. And I love speaking to business owners like yourself, because I think there's a lot everybody can be learning from each other when a business is able to get past that 5-year mark, you know, and be in the maturity stage. What have you found? What from your 10-year experience has been some of the failures where you've learned a lesson that's become one of your biggest successes?
Learned a lesson, so from running my own business side of things, I would say going from the mindset of, you know, my budget is really limited, I'll do my own accounts, I'll do my own marketing, I'll do my own admin, and really putting myself under pressure to do everything. Once I got a little bit established and got some regular revenue coming in, investing in outsourcing services so I had more time to take on paid work, was probably one of the best decisions that I made for my business then.
So I would understand you, once you got past the traction stage, I'm just gonna sit here a little bit. The traction stage is the worst stage, because you're by yourself, you've no money, and you have to do every single hat possible. Now, a lot of people give up in the traction stage, and I always just like to emphasize. Oh, you can understand why, absolutely. I'm not taking that away. It's awful, because if you're feeling sick, if you're not 100% there with it that day, you're the only person that can get it done, and you really have to live to that accountability. But I feel like it's a good lesson stage to get you into with what we're talking about now, where you go, when you delegate it to somebody else, you appreciate the work that they're doing, because it's like, 1, you don't have to do it anymore, but 2, because you've been doing it, you understand it, and then 3, it's like, okay, you've got some brain capacity to think, how can I keep growing? How can I keep growing my business? Now, I'm always fascinated by how different people make that decision on what to delegate. You know, if you're wearing all the hats, which hats do you get rid of and like, what was that process like?
So for me, the first thing I wanted to get rid of was the thing that took up the most of my time, which was admin. So the first person I brought on board was a VA, second was an accountant, you know, and that probably doubled my business by the free time that it gave me to more paid for client work. Was, you know, absolutely worth the investment, instead of me sticking at an income level and still doing everything myself, because I had no time to increase revenue, because I couldn't take on any more work.
Now, if we had longer, I'll delve a little bit more into that. That can be a trap a lot of new business owners fall into, where it's like like I have to do everything myself or it won't be correct, or it won't be right, so I must do everything. And I think that's the quickest way to grow. But what I love about your story is actually no I got rid of things off my table, and I in fact doubled, because now am I hearing right, you then concentrated your time on your clients. You went into, I want to spend more time with them to get more revenue and to get more sales, which is retention marketing. No, I like it a lot. And because one of the things I always try to like identify is, so for me, it's a case of what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses. And I'm fortunate that I from the start had somebody doing the admin, the finance, like that is my ballpark weakness. So somebody was already doing that for myself, like already doing that. Now, has there been a stage where you got to actually, there's things that you enjoy and that you have to get rid of as well? Have you had that scenario?
In terms of what? Sorry, I don't quite understand.
Okay, so sometimes, give an example. Well, SEO. There is, as we kind of identified, we keep it to that. There is some technical SEO. There is just sort of like maintenance SEO. There is, you can do PR SEO, you can do content SEO, like all these different factors. Yeah. You know, and because it's such a broad umbrella, there is stuff in SEO I will wholeheartedly stand up and say I despise, not because I don't see the value in it, but once you've written about 500 to 1,000 meta descriptions on a large website, and this is a recent project. I'm you can see my face.
Yeah, it sounds fun from the your face.
Super fun. You know, it's not because I don't recognise the value, but once you've written 140 to 160 characters for 1,000 lines, that's almost school detention punishment. You know.
Up to you. So yes, no, I now understand exactly what you mean, and I have definitely moved more into the technical side of SEO. So, for example, improving page speed, making sure security certificates are set up properly, making sure the pages are mobile responsive, keyword research, topic and cluster strategy. I am not the person who will write your content for. I'm not an SEO writer. I do not write blogs. I do not get you backlinks. I do no digital PR. It's definitely more the on-site technical and strategic work.
Yeah. It sounds like we're the either side of the SEO. I will happily sit more on the content side of things, and then we come in the middle of the strategy. And that's, it's always good to highlight.
No, somebody saying to me, can you write my content strategy for the next 12 months and deliver on it, is my worst nightmare. It would give me cold sweats at night, where if somebody said my page speed is really slow across my whole website, can you make it faster? I'm your girl, love it.
I got you. And that is super valuable. Like they're going from 5-3 second page speed to getting it down to like 1.5. That could literally mean for a small business a grand, maybe $2,000. I'm just talking like and then once you then scale it up, that 1-2 grand difference turns into 10, 20. Yeah, it does make a huge difference. So it's super valuable. So now you're hitting the 10-year goal. What does the next 10 years look like?
Oh my goodness me. Well, I hope I'm still alive, because I'll be nearly 60. So that's the first thing I'd like to say. What does the next 10 years look like? So I have, because of my very bad experience with freelancing for agencies, I've never had any ambitions to employ people and run an agency. I would say my mission, I guess, is to help as many small businesses as possible without going down the route of the agency model. So I am actually starting this year going into the coaching and the training space. So I would say, in 10 years' time, I'm still doing my one-to-one consultancy, but I've got a really robust coaching and training side of the business as well to empower small business owners to be able to undertake SEO and email marketing for themselves.
I think that's perfect. I think that's really exciting because I can hear it. I can certainly hear it, so people listening will be able to probably hear it, how passionate you are in the individual. You know, really are seeing businesses not as these numbers or this product or anything, but the people that run it. And I do say that's what you get from coaching. When you see the little light bulb go in their head and they're like, I get it, I know what I need to do, you know. And
happy dance.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, do the happy dance. And when you see them when they go from nothing, like, I know I need to do SEO, can't afford it, I've got time to do it myself, you know, and you see them in 6 months' time and 12 months' time, you're like, I've been getting my first leads in, I've been getting my first business through SEO, you know, that's the reason why we do small businesses.
Yeah, definitely.
And I can hear that from you as well. I can definitely hear that is something that gives you a lot of fulfillment.
Certainly does.
Now, I think we've pretty much covered quite a lot here today. And I think people hopefully will get everything out of it that they wanted to. Now, what is something that people can buy from you that is under £100 that would give a ton of value in their lives?
I would say an SEO audit for £97, where I go through every single page with a fine-tooth comb, report on everything that could be improved, and gives basically an action list that you can either take away and action yourself, or ask me to quote to do it for you. But it really is a full bespoke website audit.
Now, I think that's really super valuable, and this is my opinion in that if you look at your marketing, you look at your business, out of everything, at the end of the day, your website is the only thing that you own. You don't own social media, you don't own Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you don't own the emails. You own the database, but you don't really own the emails that's in that database, and that database is out of your control still. But the one thing that is in your control and always is in your control is your own website that you have admin on your server and hosting. So when you then basically it's the site audit, the nice action list, and I'm really glad you said it as an action list because that's what it is basically a way of cleaning your house. You know, guests are going to come to your house because they're going to visit your pages. You do want to make sure that your house is nice and clean and presentable to people. And that's what this action list is. And it massively helps up the rankings because Google also want clean houses. That's what their goal is, because they want to do a nice experience for people when they come visit.
Yeah, 100%. They don't want to send their users the websites that aren't going to help them, because obviously they'll go off and use Yahoo or something else, and Google doesn't want to lose market share.
Nope, exactly that, and it's as simple as that. Now, how do people get hold of you so that they can get this super valuable site audit?
They can drop me an email, jo@thedigitalmarketingfairy.co.uk.
Perfect. Nice and easy. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Jo. This has been super fun.
It has been. Thanks for having me.
No, absolute pleasure. Speak to you soon.